Have been awarded to more than 20 young sporting and cultural stars in Norfolk bidding to compete in the London Olympics. Their talents in sports, including archery, athletics and cycling, were recognised at an event at Norwich City Football Club. The funding is through the County Council's Sports and Cultural Foundation. Now, we've often heard stories of celebrities and sports stars helping seriously ill youngsters come out of comas in hospital.
But for one teenager from Northamptonshire, there was a simpler solution. Her dad sat at her bedside and gave her some maths problems to solve.
And to her family's delight, it worked. Neil Bradford takes up the story.
X Factor fan Vicky Alex is enjoying catching up with Dad before returning to hospital for her next bout of chemotherapy.
What was Cheryl Cole wearing?
Oh my God!
The 15-year-old from Findon in Northamptonshire was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia in September after falling ill at school. A week later, she was fighting for her life. Doctors at the Leicester Royal Infirmary placed her in a medically induced coma in the hope it would help her body fight the illness.
We were told to talk to her, that she could hear what we were saying, and you know, so I thought of tried to talk to her about things that she would like pop music, the X Factor, her friends at school, and things that were going on in the world around, but none of that seemed to get any response out of her. To be honest, I was at the end of my tether. I was really keen to get a response, and I didn't really know how to, so I thought the only way I could do it was by trying to ask her something that she could respond back to. So I thought, well, she's very good at maths, she's very one of her favourite subjects at school, so I'll try asking her elementary mathematics question to see how she responded.
In the end, it was the simplest of sums that provoked a response.
You know, I asked her what 1 and 1 is, and I said, did you say 2? And then she nodded. So I got a very sort of positive response back. She doesn't like English, so I said, OK, I'll finish with maths, shall I ask you an English question? And she shook her head, which again was the right response because she doesn't like the subject.
Vicky has no recollection of her family talking to her, but says she was surprised it was mathematics that woke her up, although she believes some things were always going to work better than others.
I was quite shocked. I'd have thought my friends would have sort of got some response. They always say, like, talking and singing is supposed to wake you up. Although with Dad singing, I'm not surprised it didn't.
Dad Nick is now keeping a regular blog of his daughter's progress, something he says helps him and the family cope.
I found I had no outlet for everything I was feeling, and I really wanted to record what was going on and share your story because it might help other people that are going through the same thing either now or later.
Vicky remains positive despite facing a further 6 to 8 months of treatment, and she's determined not to fall behind in her favourite subject. Neil Bradford, Anglia News, Findon in Northamptonshire.
What an incredible story. Good old Dad. Dad
You're
knows
well
best.
done, Alex. Absolutely extraordinary. Right, a DJ from Norwich is taking the music world by storm.
He's entertained thousands at music festivals and has played at both the London and Paris Fashion Weeks.
But as Natalie Gray reports, he's probably not what you're expecting, and his decks, well, they could almost have come out of the Ark.
Disc jockey, and someone like Damien Bennett, aka Sure Delight from Norwich, will probably spring to mind. Hip, happening and really hands-on. He's a DJ tutor and has his own show on community radio. Damien's got all the gizmos and gadgetry, but maybe his turntables are a bit of a turn-off, and you'd prefer a DJ who uses a pair of 1930s wind-up gramophones instead. Does such a person exist? Oh, yes. Meet Dave Guttridge, known as DJ 78 because he plays old 78s. No dynamic decks or high-tech wizardry for this other Norwich DJ. He mixes his records on 2 70-year-old picnic gramophones. Non-stop music, and all the while swapping records and changing needles.
It was inspired in a way by John Peel, the old Radio 1 DJ who I grew up listening to. He used to play a 78 every week on his show, dedicated to his wife, and his wife used to introduce it. It gave me the idea that if John can play 78s to modern audiences, then perhaps I can do the same.
DJ 78 uses the brittle shellac records from the shell of the shellac beetle, which went out of production in 1961. They're called 78s because they spin at 78 revolutions per minute. He can often be found at this cafe bar in St Benedict's in Norwich and has quite a following.
The imagery of him is great, and the music is just beautiful.
It's lovely. Yeah, I'd much rather listen to this than a kind of conventional DJ.
Absolutely wonderful, really welcoming atmosphere, and I wonder if he's available for Sunday afternoon at my house.
What do you think of this DJ who plays 78s on 2 wind-up gramophones?
I've heard of him, I've not met him, and the way I look at it is, by all means necessary. So whatever way you do it, as long as you entertain the crowd, it's fine with me.
What do you make of the DJs with all the scratching?
I love it. I wish I could. People come up and say, can you scratch? And I say, no, they're already scratched.
2 DJs, 2 very different styles, but both really groovy. Natalie Gray, Anglia News, Norwich.
Oh, he's so cool.
DJ 78 too. Well, you're in a bit of a secret here, ladies and gentlemen, because you were what? Did you used to do
I
it?
knew you were going to do this. Bex on the decks.
You were Bex on the
I used to play in clubs
decks.
on my Technics. Yeah.
Yeah.
I sold them on eBay though. Someone in Colchester has them now. I was terrible.
Was it true? I bet you weren't. Give us a little clue. Come on, give us just a...
No, I really won't. Now here's what to expect on the national news in just a couple of minutes.
She will do in a minute.
Now, many of you have contacted us to say how much you've enjoyed our series of archive features marking Anglia's 50th anniversary. Well, we've got another trip down memory lane for you in tomorrow's programme.
And looking forward to that. Yep, this amazing footage. Take a look at that. Absolutely extraordinary. Discovered in a film archive in this region. It shows the famous World War I flying ace, Manfred von Richthofen, no less, better known as the Red Baron. He shot down dozens of British pilots and fought alongside other notorious wartime figures as well. Extraordinary.
These pictures, originally taken from a wartime German newsreel, show the Red Baron on a reconnaissance mission behind enemy lines. Amazing. We'll have more on tomorrow's Anglia Tonight.
There have been extraordinary pieces so far. Looking at the weather out there, it looked a bit like it was this afternoon. I wasn't sure how the world was coming to an end at one stage. I got stuck out in it. Extremely wet and windy and not very pleasant. Let's see if that's to continue, shall we? Here's Amanda Houston.